You're pathetic. That's what I told myself after another time. This grown-ass man who would be more comfortable pleasuring himself from a screen than take those active and uncomfortable steps of actually trying to approach a real-life woman. But I was just so heavily addicted, so succumbed to the comfort of my own privacy that I just didn't know how to quit, or I didn't even want to quit back then. But once I finally decided to beat lust for good, that's when my life changed completely. Opportunities, they started to present themselves left and right because I started to take those active and intentional steps on overcoming that weakness. If you're thinking of quitting and are having a hard time or constantly relapsing, watch this video. Do you want to finally step into this rooftop bar with a pretty chick next to your side, feeling like the fucking man, or just keep that same pathetic feeling about yourself? You decide. Now I get it. I'm no angel here. Sometimes I keep falling into those bad habits, but I never fall off that cliff like I used to do back in the day. It's heavily moderated if I do go back to that same vice, so don't beat yourself up from it. But in this video, I want to show you the roadmap you should take to navigate this situation. Let's start. Step number 1, go cold turkey. Now this might sound kind of dramatic to some people, but from an understanding viewpoint, I've been in that position. It's this dopamine chemical rush, this imbalance, it's an addiction. And the only way to beat an addiction is to do two things: either go cold turkey or slowly wean off of it. Now, it's gonna suck. You're gonna relapse multiple times, possibly. I've done it myself. But the one thing that you should always remember when you're starting in this journey is those small, minute wins. Every day without doing that said vice is a win. Every week without doing that said vice, that's a win. Hour, that's a win. Month, that's an accomplishment. You need to find your accomplishments, track those down, and keep that same log, keep that same pattern, keep that same habit that you build over time. That's how you beat an addiction. That's how you wean off. That's my best advice. Now you're probably going to find yourself with more free time, and you might find yourself wrapped up in your head, feeling that rush, that dopamine. What I do personally, to this day, whenever I have that same rush, that same inclination, I usually do two things. One, I either leave the house, vacate the premise, and then go do something productive, like go to the gym, record a video, or simply clean up or do some chores or errands. You need to find some stuff that will block out that time frame that you used to use doing that same vice and fill it with something productive. Fill it with something that can utilize your time for something better. Once you start fixating your thought process on something else, like going to the gym, making gains, or making more money, stuff of that nature, then that thought process of going back to that vice becomes less and less over time. But that's because you build that backlog of past wins and other stuff that you spend that time building instead of falling back to that old vice. Now, why I'm so passionate about eliminating this vice from a man's personal life is I've had this previous experience myself. There's been times where I'm hooking up with the chick, and all of a sudden that mental backlog from all those previous vices of watching that adult content creeps in. You probably heard the thing about ED, or erectile dysfunction, and that's a true thing. That's happened to a lot of guys. And so a lot of studies have shown that excessive consumption of adult material leads to a converse effect on man, which is called erectile dysfunction. Now, speaking from a first-hand experience, that's happened to me too. And looking back at it now, the main culprit was obviously my consumption of that pornographic material back when I was young. It's creeped in, pretty much affected me until my adulthood. Now, studies have shown that excessive consumption of that same material not only leads to erectile dysfunction, but it could also lead to a chemical imbalance in the brain waves, making sexual arousal more difficult, or you find more sexual arousal through a screen rather than a real life person. If you keep doing that in the long run and keep compounding that, that's just going to lead to what we're seeing right now, a giant case of population decrease. Look at South Korea, for example. Look at the stats. And from the looks of those stats, imagine what's going to happen with the rest of the world once it catches up to what happened over there in South Korea. Think of the major harm that could happen. Think of the societal collapse. There's a reason this is a touchy subject, because it has large complications that even we don't understand. So if you're one of those dudes who finds it hard to talk to girls, I'm here to tell you, I was that same guy too. It was only when I took those uncomfortable steps and really tried to approach it like a skill set and try to better that skill set that you finally start seeing rewards from that. It takes time, I get it. It takes a lot of courage too. But my mission for you is, what's stopping you from approaching that one cute chick at the bar, at Starbucks, and just making simple conversation, not with the expectation to get their phone number, but just with a casual, normal conversation. That's what I used to do. I would just talk to girls left and right, people in general, make conversations, and then over time it just becomes second nature, and you're able to whip that out whenever you want. That's only because you take those uncomfortable steps and you learn that skill set, you learn that habit, and then you build on that habit, and then you can utilize that habit to other things, like talking to girls. Another step in this roadmap is identifying triggers. What are the things that lead you into doing that? Is it that self-isolation? Is it being wrapped up in your head or being riddled with anxiety? Whatever it might be, scrolling through Instagram, looking at pretty women, the list goes on. But you need to identify those triggers. And then when you do identify those triggers, and you do get that urge to act on said triggers, do what I said in step number 2. Instead of acting on those triggers, use that time to be more productive. Like finally start to work out, or do that one thing that you've been holding off. Take that time and take that urge and channel it into something else. Now I want to read off an interesting article that I learned right now about this very same topic, erectile dysfunction. So it says, researchers have hypothesized that the increased exposure to porn causes people to be less reactive to sexual stimuli. One study found that people who had watched porn for more years had less gray matter in the part of their brains associated with reward sensitivity. According to this theory, people who watch a lot of porn may not be sexually aroused by real-life sexual encounters, which could cause ED. Another study found that men who use porn may develop a preference for masturbation while using porn rather than desired sexual partners. The unrealistic depiction of penises and the male body in porn may contribute to performance anxiety or body insecurity that can make it difficult for a person to get or maintain an erection. Those are some of the studies hypothesized in that same article. Speaking from a first-hand experience, I believe the one thing that did cause my ED when I did have it those couple times was that overconsumption of that adult material when I was a kid, and it somehow creeped back into my adulthood. So if you want to avoid that uncomfortable situation, limit your consumption, or if possible, eliminate it completely. You decide. So that was my roadmap, or my guidelines on how to eliminate that vice from your life completely. I know this is a touchy subject, no pun intended, but it needed to be said, it needed to be done. Once again, hope you found value in this video, hope you found some information. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I upload 2 times per week, every Wednesday and every Sunday. So make sure to come back. And as always, it's been your boy Coach Ed. See you later.